carried out in the way to internationally cause as many victims as possible. The Sumy City Council reported that Russia attacked the city's civilians' infrastructure. In the result of the missile strike in Sumy, there are dead and wounded civilians. There are damaged residential and non-residential buildings. According to the Sumy City Council, they has been deployed the headquarters to eliminate the consequences of the emergency situation.
On Palm Sunday, Russian creatures hit civilians in Sumy with missiles, intentionally so that there would be many victims. And this happened after Witkov's visit to Moscow to Putin. The previous time there has been hit Kryvyi Rih, when many children died. That was after Dmitriev's visit to Washington, where he also met with Witkov. All its so-called diplomacy and racket, Russia builds around strikes on civilians.
The head of Ukrainian intelligence, Kirill Budanov, named the unit that carried out the terrorist attack on Sumy. At the head of the main intelligence directorate reported that the strike with 2 Iskander-M KN-23 ballistic missiles was carried out by Russian crew of the 112th and 448th missile brigades from the territory of the Voronezh and Kursk regions. Meanwhile, days of mourning are being declared across Ukraine for the victims of Sumy. The mourning days in Lviv will be on April 13 and April 14. All state flags will be lowered in the city. In Konotop, days of mourning have been declared on April 13, 14 and 15. Kellogg reacted to the attack on Sumy. He wrote on his social media that Russia had crossed all the boundaries of decency.
Today's Palm Sunday attack by Russian forces on civilian targets in Sumy crosses any line of decency. There are scores of civilian dead and wounded. As a former military leader, I understand targeting, and this is wrong. It is why President Trump is working hard to end this war.
And the British Prime Minister Keir Starmer said that there is no room for maneuver for Russia. The occupiers must accept the conditions of the complete and unconditional ceasefire.
I'm appalled at Russia's horrific attacks on civilians in Sumy, and my thoughts are with the victims and their loved ones at this tragic time. President Zelensky has shown his commitment to peace. Putin must now agree to a full and immediate ceasefire without conditions.
Volodymyr Zelensky constantly speaks about the need for our country to receive additional air defense systems. In particular, the Ukrainian leader started this during a speech at a recent meeting in the Ramstein format, and it was the time when the Ukrainian president spoke at the meeting in the Ramstein format that he was in Kryvyi Rih. President Zelensky noted that cities such as Kryvyi Rih are under constant danger, and the most difficult thing to fight is ballistic. Volodymyr Zelensky asked European partners for an additional 10 Patriot systems.
Today, I'm speaking to you from Kryvyi Rih. This city lives under almost constant air alerts because of drones or Russian missiles. The most dangerous threat is ballistic missiles. When there's a ballistic threat, people have just a few minutes to reach shelter. Just imagine what that's like, sending your child outside or just walking through the city knowing that a missile can hit within 5 minutes of launch. It's constant danger. Exactly a week ago, here in this city, in Kryvyi Rih, a Russian ballistic missile killed 19 people, including 9 children, just children. On an ordinary street in Ukraine, we don't have time for metaphors. Our people, our children are under attacks in many cities and villages. Dnipro, Kryvyi Rih, Nikoполь, Poltava, Mykolaiv, Zaporizhzhia, Sumy, Kharkiv, Odessa, Chernihiv, and other, many others. They all need protection from Russian missiles. You know that Ukraine has a shortage of air defense systems. You know that Patriot systems can effectively protect against ballistic threats. You also know that we are forced to move the systems we have around the country to give at least temporary protection to different cities. And you know what happens when even one system goes out of service. It means lost lives. In Russia, they see this as their advantage, their ability to be a terrorist state. And we must take away that ability, their belief that killing can be treated lightly. I ask you to focus first of all on air defense for Ukraine. We truly need it. 10 Patriot systems, the free wall has them. What is needed now are political decisions to make them work for peace. We need that result.
Volodymyr Zelensky also recalled the prisoners from China who were captured by Ukrainian defense forces on the territory of our country. The Ukrainian leader noted that Putin is trying to drag out the war, and clear evidence of this, among others, is the involvement of foreign citizens in the war on the territory of Ukraine.
Last week, our soldiers captured the first Chinese citizens fighting on the front, fighting for Russia. As of now, we have information that at least several hundred Chinese nationals are fighting as part of Russia's occupation forces. This means Russia is clearly trying to prolong the war, even by using Chinese lives. Putin was not satisfied with soldiers from North Korea. Now he's trying to cover his shortages by pulling in yet another nation, the Chinese. How long can he keep doing this? We must work together to make such questions not about Moscow's choices, but about our joint pressure on Moscow, because that's the only way it will work. And along with supporting our forces and maintaining sanctions against Russia now, we must also think about the future. What will force Russia to choose diplomacy and peace tomorrow? This is our common fate. Europe, the United States, NATO.
Volodymyr Zelensky stressed the importance of ending of Russian-Ukrainian war at the negotiation table, and this requires constant and powerful pressure on Russia. The Ukrainian leader also noted that Russia rejected the ceasefire proposal months ago and continues to shell Ukrainian territory. That is why the Russian position and Russian demands are only reason why we have not yet reached the stage of reaching peace agreements.
Thank you to all the countries that continue to support Ukraine, our defense, our soldiers, our resilience, stable, predictable, and sufficient defense support, along with joint pressure on Russia and our own resilience here in Ukraine, including our domestic weapons production, and absolutely necessary for this war to finally end. And it must end at the negotiation table. Only the most difficult conditions for Russia on the battlefield and in international relations can force it to do what's needed for a true peace. And today marks exactly 1 month since Russia rejected the US proposal for a full and unconditional ceasefire. 1 month that has made it completely clear Russia is the sole cause of this war. Without strength against Russia, there will be no will in Russia to accept and implement any realistic and effective proposals for peace. I thank everyone who supports this kind of policy, a policy of real results.
Andriy Sybiha noted the day before that Ukrainian cares about the security of the whole world. The head of the Ukrainian foreign minister said this during a speech at the Antalya Diplomatic Forum in Turkey. It is extremely important to understand who is victim and who is the aggressor, because a month has passed since Ukraine accepted the terms of a ceasefire.
The Ukrainian army currently has 110 brigades. All these military personnel have combat experience that can seriously strengthen the North Atlantic Alliance. In no way should our country be deprived of the opportunity to join NATO, since this also